No interest in judging or comparing. This old mind such a divine pain. So many layers of crazy love I have in my heart for you. So many layers of crazy love in my heart for you. So many layers of crazy You know one thing I love about you. You don't care which foot you choose. For you, there's no one call. You don't care what they think. Their own colors. No one thing
Okay, everybody. Our time is up. Our time is up. I'm sure everybody is in, those who are in. And I would like to thank you guys for joining the live. Thank you guys for joining the live. You are the ones that make this happen, you know. If I just stay here and nobody shows up, you know what that does? There won't be any live. So huge thanks to you guys. Thank you for showing up. And yeah, just share this live to those who you think. Share this live to those who you think they can benefit more from this. We're going to do live coding. This is live. Everything is live. You have a question, shoot on the chat, and I would love to respond back to you. And if I want, hopefully someone on the chat can help. And if someone on the chat can't, we have ChatGPT. We have all the AIs we can ask for. So I'm pretty sure we will find a solution. Yeah. So welcome to the live, guys. My name is George. And I'm a full stack software developer. I build web, I build mobile. On the web, I use Laravel and PHP framework. I also use React on the front end, and I use Inertia to glue the two, the Laravel and the front end, the React front end, right? Yeah, so thank you guys for joining. Thank you, everybody. If you like building software, I would love to see you liking the live. If you like building softwares, please like the live. Yeah, that shows me you guys are here and we are all together. So my goal is to have this community as big as it can be. So you help me. One small thing I can ask from you guys is to share this. And if you are new to this live, just hit that follow button. That will mean a lot to me, and it will tell me that what I am doing, you guys are getting it. You know, you guys are feeling it. Okay, so what are we going to do today? Today we will start a brand new topic. It's called authentication. We will start a brand new topic. It's called authentication. So before we actually dive into a brand new topic called authentication, we will actually do a small review for those who are new. That way they can catch up with what we have been building so far. And we will start to introduce some new ideas. Some of you were like, George, this is pretty basic. Why can't we just hop into the good stuff? Guys, now we are going to the good stuff. We will start working on the UI. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Nice, Reagan. Nice, Reagan. Super, super cool to know that I contributed something to your career. If you are now employed because of what I taught you, that brings me joy. Super. That's very good to hear, Reagan. That's very good to hear. Yeah. Nice. So yeah. So in this one, we will do something. We'll start to dive into the not complex, but the deeper levels of Laravel a little bit. But we will also touch some UI stuff. We will do some rewiring, some changing stuff, you know. Yeah, so stick around. You will learn a lot, a ton of information regarding Laravel. Yeah, you will learn a lot regarding Laravel. And I can assure you, once this live ends, you will know everything you need to know about basic authentication in Laravel. You will know everything you want to know regarding basic Laravel authentication. So stick around. Yeah, so we have been building this website. Let me share with you. We have been building this website. It's called My Ideas. So the main purpose was to understand Laravel, not really the website itself, because it was just as simple as it can be. The website we built was very simple. It has this front-facing web page where someone can see the ideas, and if they hit this create button, they can create an idea. You see, let's say what kind of an idea? Build, let's say, study Kotlin language. Maybe that's an idea. And if they hit submit, and then we have this study Kotlin language stored in the database, and then we pull that and then we display it right here. Okay, so it was as simple as that. And if someone hits edit, study Kotlin language for multi-platform, this is now editing, right? And now if I hit update, I will get the update right here. So it was a basic crude functionality which can help you understand how Laravel works in terms of request life cycle. When a user hits a button, where does that request go? You see, when the user hits an edit button, where does it go? When the user hits a create button, what kind of request are we pushing to the server, and how does the server respond? And how are we actually fetching information from the database and handing that information to the view? That way we can display the information like so. You see? Yeah, so welcome everybody, welcome guys, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining the live. It shows that you guys are here. It shows we are not alone. Nice. Okay, so, but if you look at this website, it doesn't have authentication. First of all, it's not looking cool. It's not looking cool, as you can see. It's just basic HTML. We have added a little bit of CSS using Tailwind classes, but it's not attractive. So we are going to make it pretty. And I was just thinking, yeah, if we were that maybe it's better to convert from having a simple My Ideas page to something kind of an e-commerce website, starting from a very basic angle where we can just create products and list them, right? and then we can now study relationships after we do the authentication, you see. So I would like to start by converting what we have into, instead of having my ideas, let's have my products. So we're going to do some sort of rewiring, and I'm pretty sure in this process, some of you guys will, maybe if you missed the previous sections, some of you guys will be able to catch up with what we have been doing, because I will be touching everything that we did, you see. Okay, so I would like to start by converting what we had. Instead of it saying my ideas, I want it to say my products, you see. Yeah, so let's go to the code now. Enough talking, let's start coding. Yeah, so this is a Laravel project. This is a Laravel project. If I view the file structure, you can see this is how a Laravel project looks like, okay? This is how a Laravel project looks like. There are many folders and many files, I know, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Yeah, so bear with me. You will understand this, and they are very straightforward. They have very specific use cases, so you will actually understand how everything works. Just make sure you stick around. Okay, so I would like to start by modifying the database, right? So if I look at the database table, if you look at the database table, we do have 3 folders: factories, migrations, and seeders. So forget factories. Factories are used to generate data. And forget seeders. Seeders are used to seed data in the database, right? So forget those. Don't worry about those. There will come a time for that. So let's just go directly to the migrations table, where we have this migration. And what is migration? Migration is a file. A migration file is a file that you can use to create, to manage the database schema. And when I say the database schema, I mean the database, specifically the database table. That's pretty much what you will be working on. So Sinaga X, not for beginners, sielewi. Yeah, this one requires you to have a little bit of understanding with PHP and a little bit of understanding with object-oriented programming. Yeah, so I would advise you to stick around and learn, because everything has a start, right? Everything has a start. So you can start to look at this Laravel as a completely new thing, but your brain will start to understand. And later on, when you learn maybe PHP, you'll start to see how things come together. So don't feel completely like an imposter. No, don't feel like that. Just stick around and look at the core basics, the things that I speak. Try to understand them. Just remain with an open mind. That's how we learn. Okay, that is how we learn. So don't worry if this is something very new. I'm pretty sure you'll pick up a thing or two, and you will be able to leverage that. Okay. Okay. So let me see if we have any comments or questions on Facebook. Nope. What about YouTube? Nope. We are good. Okay. So let's go back to TikTok. Nice. Now I was talking about these guys here. This file. This file is a migration file. So let me just hide it. When we run our migration, what do I mean by that? When we run a migration, this means we want to make changes to the database, right? That's what we run a migration. We want to change. We want to migrate this code to effect in the database, okay? Yeah, so right now we are creating a table called ideas. I don't want that. I want it to say products. I want it to say products. And I just want to have 2 fields for the product. I want one field which says product name and another one which says product description. So I am actually changing the whole project from the project being ideas tracking project to an e-commerce. I just want to reuse what we already have. Okay. So this is it. And when we drop the table, I want it to say we drop the products table. Okay. So in database, dropping means deleting. Okay. So when we drop a table, this means we are deleting a table. Okay. Okay, so I would also want to change this file name for it to reflect what, the file name, in order for it to reflect to ideas. Instead of ideas, it has to reflect to products, right? Products, like so. Okay. Now, if I open my database, Command T, if I open the database, Command J, sorry, and if I go to dev db and connect to this Laravel default connection. So this database is called SQLite. We don't need a server. This question comes a lot. How long does it take to become a full stack web dev? The answer is very straightforward. It depends. It depends. It depends with your interaction, right? So if it takes, so for a martial art, someone who fights, if it takes 1,000 punches to develop a strong punch, it will take 1,000 punches, right? So if you can do 10 punches a day, then you can calculate the number of days. If you can do 100 punches a day, then it will take you 10 days, right? If you take 10 days, 10 punches a day, it will take you 100 days. So there is amount of time that is required for you to spend with a certain skill for a long time to master that skill. There is an amount of time. That's how we learn as human beings. So you have to let that time pass while you get yourself acquainted, you get yourself immersed in that particular skill, doing it. So it depends. But heads up, it takes time. It takes time. Yeah. Just like any other skill. Being best at football, playing football takes time. Being good at playing basketball, it takes time. Being good at playing music, a guitar, a piano, it takes time. So no shortcuts, it takes time. And if you're looking for shortcuts, I'm very sorry, I have bad news for you. It takes time. Okay, so if I look at this ideas table, we have these ideas, but with Laravel's migration, I'm going to remove everything, including this ideas table, and I'm going to rerun it. And so we are going to delete essentially everything in the database, right? And because I'm trying to change everything, so it is okay for my use case. In order to do that, I will use this command. It's called php artisan migrate fresh. So when I say php artisan migrate fresh, it means I want a fresh start. So drop everything and run this and rerun the migration. Drop everything and rerun the migration. So if I hit enter, you can see it started by dropping all tables. Okay, then it reran the migrations right here. So if I go back to DevDB and let me just delete everything and reload the connection, you will see there is no ideas table, but we have products table, and it has got ID, name, description, and the timestamps, which is exactly ID, name, description, and timestamps. I hope this is clear for you guys. Okay, so now our database has changed, but our code has not. So let us go and modify our code, okay? Starting by the index table, the index. So this one would be the index, yeah? So let me just do this and collapse everything. If we go to resources, views, and we will have this folder called ideas. So let us rename this and let's call it products, okay? Because we are now dealing with products. And in the index table, in the index page, sorry, let us convert this from saying my ideas to my products, okay? And then instead of create idea, let's say create product. And this one won't be ideas create, it will be products create. Okay, so we are just changing everything. Instead of saying idea, let me hit Control D or Command D on Mac and change everywhere where it says idea to product, like so, in a multi-cursor form. Yeah, thank you for liking the live, everybody. So good. That shows you guys are learning something here. Okay, super. So we have just changed the index, the front-facing page. Let us now change the creation page. The creation page. And if I open the sidebar, here we have the creation page, right? Now it still says create your idea. Let's say create a product and view your ideas. Let's say view your products, like so. And instead of posting to /ideas, let's say it posts to /products. And instead of saying idea label, let's say this is product and specifically product name. So let's just say name. And this is description, so it's okay for a description. Let me see, this is a div. This is a label. Let us just do this, like so, and recopy this. So we have, the first one is a label for name, right? And this one should not be a text area now. It just should be an input of type text, which is by default type text. So even if we can just choose to ignore that. And so the form error won't be description. It will be what? It will be name. Okay, it will be name. Nice. And now here, this can now be a description, right? Description. So because in a product, we have a product name and a product description. We could have a lot of product attributes, price, quantity, you see, product variants, but we're just choosing two. That way we can learn the basics, okay? So bear with me for a while. Description, okay, like so. So let us see what we are looking at on the page, right? On the page. And we will basically get an error because we do not have the route for products, okay? We don't have the route for products. Anyway, let's just fix that by going to the route definition. The route definition is in web.php, okay? The route definition is in web.php. So in here, we have this route which manages the resource. So the resource is what you are dealing with. So for example, right now, we are dealing with a product. This would no longer be a good resource name. A good resource name would be products, okay? And if you look at this idea controller, we are no longer dealing with ideas. So I would rather hit Control D and say product controller. But now I'll have to modify this to also say product controller. Now we don't have the file called product controller, so let us fix that. If I go to app HTTP, I will see the controllers right here. And then we have the idea controller. Therefore, we can just rename this to product. You see? So this is where good IDEs comes in to help. But it's okay because it's just a small project. We can just do it manually. Product controller, like so. And The product controller utilizes something called idea store request. We saw this yesterday. And so we can just change this to product store request, and our model as well, we can change it to product model. Then we can make some updates here. So I'm just going to hit Control D, making sure that I have the casing here selected. That way, when I control a capital idea, I won't select the lowercase idea. Okay, so Control D, and my goal here is to select the model, and I will hit Control D, Control D, Control D several times, and I'll select product. In that manner, I have changed the model. And for the case of ideas, I'll just select ideas, and I hit Control D, D, D several times, and I'll say products, you see? And then this one will change all instances of ideas to products. But this tells us we do not have a product model created. So we will go to the app and models. And in here we have this called idea. We want to rename this also to product. Okay, product. And also rename this to product, the class itself. Okay. Now, if we go back, we should see something here. You see now the product is resolving, but the product store request does not exist. So let us create that. And if I close everything, it should be in app HTTP requests. And if I right click here, I can rename to product store request, you see. And now I just have to change the class name to product store request. Okay, so I think this one should fix a lot. Product store request, and in here they should be product store request. I think this one should be fine. Okay, so we have done several changes, but it's okay. I think this one should work. Son of Maggie saying, next class, please consider JS. Yeah, once we are through with Laravel, definitely we will do some JavaScript. Yeah, we'll do some JavaScript. But for now, let us stick with Laravel. Okay, so let's see. If I refresh right now, obviously I'll get nothing, right? Because we deleted everything when we said PHP adds on migrate fresh. Now, if I hit create product, now we have name and description, okay? And you have your view, your products. So if I hit submit, I will have errors, of course, because we are only dealing with description. We are not dealing with name when we store the data in the database. So let us fix that. Or let me just show you the error, that way you see. So if I hit maybe a product name called shoe, and I say shoes. If I hit submit, you see now we have issues because we want to store a name. Actually, a name in the database is required, but we are not providing that name to the database. If you see here, product name, you see, it's complaining about product's name, okay? Inserted into products, description, updated at, yeah. And it's saying product name is not null, you see? It should not be null when you're entering records in the database. So let us just make sure we supply that and we are good, okay? So if I go to the code where, let me walk you through this. This form page, this form which submits, which is responsible to create a product, okay? This form. Once, let me collapse this first, that way you guys can see. Once this button has been submitted, once this button is clicked, this form will be submitted. And when this form is submitted, it is actually submitted to this route, /products. And this route, /products, internally, it is directed to execute, to be handled by this store method. And you can see here, we are just storing the description from the request. So what we could just do is duplicate this and say we also want the name from the request, okay? Now, you remember we were protecting this action of storing the data in the database by using the product store request, which was idea store request, right? Now, we need to make sure we also specify the rules for storing a name, okay? So let's just say a name is also required, okay? And we actually don't need to specify custom messages for everything. Yeah, so we can just say a name is required and it should be a minimum of 3 characters, okay? 3 characters. Which server are you using to host? Currently, this is hosted local. This is locally hosted. That's why I can just save and reload to see the changes like so. So if I say iPhone 13 Pro Max, and if you can just say maybe iPhone 13 Pro Max used but good condition. And if I hit submit, voila, we do have, but now we are using the description instead of using the name. If you can see it, you see. So something should be changed here, especially in the index page where we fetch. Let me show you. You see this index page. In this index page, actually it follows under the index method here. This method is the one because we are getting all products and then we are passing that data to the products index blade, which is actually HTML. So if we go to that, as you can see here, we are actually displaying the description. Now we should change this to display a name, okay? A name, product name. And then when we do that, yeah, we are displaying a product name. So let's just make sure we can also edit and then we can work on the UI, right? So if I hit edit, then here we have not changed this. It's still reflecting the idea code that we did. So let's go to edit and you can find edit here. Now let us change this. Edit a product, and then view your products. Okay. Now it is posting to ideas. Let me just multi-edit this. Command D, and then we can just say products, and I'm going to multi-edit the single word idea, lowercase, by hitting Control D, or Command D on Mac, and I'll say product, like so. And then instead of this one saying idea, it will say name, and this one should say name. And let me just copy this before I lose it. And if I expand it, this one should say, this one should just be a normal input, and it should say name, and the name will also be name because it's for product name, okay? And so for inputs, we don't put values like this. We also don't have to do it like this. We can just, an input is a self-closing tag, so we can just close it like so. So we have an idea, a name, a row. We can also have something called value, and then we can put the product name as the value. Because here we are editing, okay? So when you're editing, you need to have the previous record. That way you can modify it. Okay, yeah. So, and we will show errors for the name, the field name, which is name right here. Okay, so after that, let's do a description. Let's do one for description, the input that holds the description. Okay, and I think we can just use the text area. It will just be fine. Okay, and then here we are updating and we're also deleting. Okay, yeah. So let's go back and hit reload. And now we have undefined variable product. Why? Because when we edit a product, we expect to pass a product. But let's go to the product controller on the edit action and see what's happening there. So if we go to the edit action, instead of accepting idea, we are actually instead of accepting idea, we accept product. Okay, yeah, we accept product. Okay, so I'm going to reload and voila, we have iPhone 13 Pro Max and the description is right there. Okay, so we are good now, right? We can make some changes. Instead of saying iPhone 13 Pro, we can say iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay, and if I hit update, I think something might work and something might not. Okay, I think the description will work, but the name will not. If I update, you see the name is still iPhone 13, but the description, even the description did not work. So let's focus on fixing that now. When we hit update, let's make sure we are also accepting the new product name and the product description as well. Okay, so if we go to the update, as you can see, the request is validated with this validation, and then instead of accepting product, we're accepting idea. So let's accept product here, accept product here, and let's say I end here. I know this is not going to work fully, but let's just say maybe it works. Let's say we go there and we make the modifications, and if I hit update, so we still have iPhone 13 instead of 14. If I hit edit, the description changed, but the name did not. Why? Because in the validation in here, we are validating only one field. So let's also include the name, and let's say maybe it's a minimum of 3 characters. Also, when we are updating, let's also update the name. Okay, let's also update the name like so. Okay, like so. So by doing this, if I go here and say now this is iPhone 14 and I hit update, we have iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay, so I hope that helped you guys to understand how we can work with multiple input and how the request lifecycle goes with Laravel. Okay. Okay, so I think we have finished working with, let me see if I can delete this. If I hit delete, nah, we are not deleting it. So let's work with delete, and then we can go on to the the today's functionality now. So I think it's the same issue where we are saying idea instead of product, because Laravel relies on the parameters passed on the web.php, and the names has to be exact for it to actually resolve the product from the database. So essentially what we are doing here is we are saying we want to delete. Destroy means delete. We want to delete a product from the database. Okay, the product is in the database. We want to delete it. Now, if we want to delete a product which exists in the database, we actually pass in an ID, a number, a unique identifier, which identifies that product among the other products from the product table. Laravel will use that ID, fetch it. You see, it will fetch that product from the database, pull it here, and then we can just chain the delete method on that product. We don't have to fetch it. Laravel will take care of that here. This, my dear friends, it's called route model binding. It's just a fancy name, but essentially that's what it does. It just resolves the models. When you give it a unique ID, it gives you the model associated with that ID, which is a complete record from the database. And then you can make all tons of modifications from that model, even deleting it like so. Okay, so right now we do have iPhone 14 Pro Max in our database. If I hit delete, we do not. Okay. Yeah, we do not have iPhone 13 again. So we need to create another product. Let's say this is Google Pixel 9 Pro. And this is, let's say, brand new Google Pixel 9 Pro. And I hit submit, and we have our Google Pixel. I hit edit, brand new Google Pixel Pro. Currently in stock. If I hit update, we see we have the name, but when you hit edit, we have the description, the updated description, right? Okay. So up to that point, do we have any question? Because this serves like a refresher of what we did. Now we're going to start working on a new feature today, which is authentication plus a new UI. Do we have anything, anyone who has a question before I proceed? Anyone with a question before I proceed? Help me to share the live, share the live with people who you think can understand, can benefit from this live. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on TikTok, hit that follow button. And are you always live at this time? Yep, I am always live on Wednesday and Thursday this time. 2 days of the week, Wednesday and Thursday this time. Yeah, I'm always live on Wednesday and Thursday. So if you want to learn how to code, be sure to hop in the live at that time. And I always post the live link on my WhatsApp status. So yeah, if you want to be notified, just send me a message. I'll save your number. My YouTube channel name, okay, let me share with you. It's called, you can just say youtube.com and you can say @George Raphael. You see, youtube.com @George Raphael. If you do this, I believe it will show you. And yeah, we are live right now and somebody's watching. Okay. Let me share it with you here. Yeah, I decided to go live on both channels because in some places YouTube is the thing, in some places TikTok is the thing. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, guys, it looks like the questions are no more. So we are going to do the good stuff now. So there is this library called Daisy UI. It's a Tailwind CSS UI framework, I can say, and it creates these standards that you can use in CSS. So we're going to try to use this Daisy UI. I used it some times back, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I used Daisy UI sometimes back. Then I flipped back to just using normal Tailwind but I've decided to include this to learn it, to relearn it with you guys. I think it will simplify stuff because it brings about some semantic, some standards, you know, yeah, that I think they might help. Okay, so like any other technology, if you want to learn it, you have to go to documentation. So let's say how to use, how to use. So there is installing with npm. We haven't, I have not taught you npm yet, so let's use cdn. CDN is just a very simplified way for us to use any kind of library by copying a specific link and using that, okay? So I'm going to copy this link and I will put it on the layout, put it on the layout. Let's go to the layout and we'll put it like so. Okay, so we have the Daisy UI link and the script. And it has themes. Let's also just copy the themes, the link to themes, and then let's put it here, the themes, okay? Yeah, so now let's remove these backgrounds and see what it has, what comes by default with Daisy UI. So going back to my ideas, reload, and it's white. Okay, so it is white, okay. So how can we customize maybe the theme? Let's see, if we go maybe to themes. So we have light, dark, and cupcake. Okay, let's see dark, and that should be data themes. Let's copy this and see what will work. So we put it on the HTML tag, and let's say if we reload, yeah, we have something has changed, I can see. So there is another called node. Let's see what node will do. How about dark? Oh, super. You see now, so with Daisy UI, there are some pre-configured styling that you can just pull and use. You can just pull and use. So let's see Dracula. I think there is something called Dracula. Yeah, I think we will stick with Dracula. Dracula seems like a nice UI. Okay, so let us put some products. So we have a Google Pixel. Now the create product page. I think we can change this to use one of their own. Let's go to Daisy UI and let's go to components right here, components. Let's scroll for some forms, some field sets. There we go, field sets. And in field set, we have this for an input. We have another one for an input like this. Let me zoom in so that you guys can see well. And then we have something like this. I just want something simple. My login form. So these are field sets, okay. How about text areas? So this is field set. Do we have any text area maybe? Yeah, there we go. We have a text area. Okay, it is like this. Nice. And we have something like this. Then we have the primary and the other stuff. Okay, so let's go for this one with form control and labels. So we go to HTML, we copy the text area. You see now, so this one will change, it will change how how verbose the HTML code will be, okay, to change. So let's go to create page. And so we'll start with the text area since we are there, and we can change this. Instead of having a text area like so, we'll just change it and put in a field set, you see. And now here we can say product. So this one is description, and instead of having this label, we can have this error. Let's leave it and have this error in here, and we will see. Let's see how it will look like. My ideas, reload. Okay, so we have this, and we have this legend here, which is optional, so we can just remove it. And if we reload, yeah, it's looking good. Okay, so let's also change this name to use the inputs. Okay. So we can go back to components, and we can go back to field sets, and then we can just copy a simple one. Let's use this one, HTML. Let's pick one. Let's pick one. Let's just pick all of them, and then we will remove the rest and just put title. And then we can actually cut this and put here. Okay, so let's do, this is now a name. This one is name. And now the input type text, then we need to have a name called name. Let's make sure we have a name for the text area, name called description. Okay, like so. Description. Okay, so let's see how it looks like on our website. Okay, so it looks like it would be nice if this would be inside here. So instead of having create products here, I think it would be nice to have it in the field set legend create product. Okay, and instead of having the description all by itself, I think it's nice to have it inside the field set, the first one, like so. Okay, so let's see how that one will look like. Yeah, and now we can just remove the ones that exist, like so. Okay, I hope this one looks good. Yeah, now we can just make sure we position this in the middle. Okay, just position it in the middle, and we can do that by making sure that this field set has an MX auto, because if you put an MX auto, this means it has a margin of left and right, the x-axis automatically applied, like so. You see, so we just have to put the submit button inside, and then we can look at the buttons that exist in Daisy UI, and we just have a pretty good good form. Okay, so let us just make sure everything says what we want it to say. We can put iPhone maybe 17 Pro as the placeholder, and in text area, actually we need an error message for the inputs, and then we can say name. Thank you for liking, thank you for following the live creator. Super, thank you guys. Just keep sharing the live, that way we can have more people here. Okay, why more people here? Because when there are more people, then we have a more vibrant live. If I reload, here we have product name and a good placeholder, and here it should not say bio, you could just say product description. So placeholder, description. Okay, like so. Now let's add another label here like this for the text area, like so, and we put it and say description. I think this one makes more sense. And then let's look for another button from Daisy UI. If we hit preview, we have this button here. So let's go HTML and steal this button. Let's see if we can steal the button and put it inside the field set, like so. And then we can just say the type now is called submit, and it's no longer login, it's submit. Okay, and now we can get rid of this button like so. Yeah, so now we have a very simple code, very simplified code base. Yeah, you see. Yeah, then maybe we can just remove this view your products from here, and maybe you can just put it down here. That way someone can go back. So I'll just cut it, maybe remove even the H1, cut it from here, and then we can put it down here, this A tag, and let's leave the defaults. Okay, let's leave the default and see what the defaults are. So it's just view your products, a plain white text. Maybe we could just make it a button, but an outlined button. An outlined button is a good way of having a button there, but not allowing the button to steal visibility. So let's go to button and see if we can have an outline. Yeah, we do have a BTN outline here. So let's have a class just like this. So it will be a BTN, then BTN outline. Okay, so it's kind of like Bootstrap. You see, view your products. Okay, and then we have submit. So I think this form is much more beautiful compared to the previous one, right? I think you guys can agree. But if you look at it, we didn't spend a lot of time designing. We're just using the existing components, which are given to us by Daisy UI. Okay. So maybe for the description placeholder, we can just say brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max in stock. Okay, that way it looks like a description. Yeah, so let us see if it works. If it's too beautiful and it's not working, then that's a bad reputation. So I'm going to put a name. So let's say Samsung A21 brand. Let's say brand new Samsung A21. And if I hit submit, we have Samsung A21. So the form works, guys. The form works. Let us now work on this front-facing UI. I do not like it. I do not. So let's see if we can just use some cards for now. Some cards which has a name of a product as well as maybe a description as well. Yeah, so let's see. Maybe if we can go to components, look for cards. Do we have cards? Badge, breadcrumb, button, calendar, card. We do have a card here. Let's look at the card. So for card, we have card title, card body. So it looks like we are going to use title for the product name and body for the description. Hello, hi. And then we can use the actions, card size, card large. Okay, so let's look at this. So here it has product image, So these guys, they have a very good user interfaces. For us, we could have something like this, because since we don't have an image, we could use a placeholder image for now. I am live on Wednesday and Thursday, 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, the same time. This time I'm always live, so 1900 hours East African time, I'm always live. So please, if you're new to this live, please remember to follow the creator. If you like Laravel, you like technology, you like programming, you like web development, this is your place. This is your tribe. Yeah, and please also, if you know other people who would benefit from this, my goal is to have the most largest community of developers where we can meet and talk. Yeah, so right now I'm presenting the live, but after this, everybody's allowed to talk. You have a question, you shoot on the chat. You don't understand anything, yeah, I'm here to help. Okay, so let us use this card, and we will use this place for the title of the product, and this place for the product description, and the buy now for now to just be edit, right? Yeah, so let's go for that, and let's copy this card. Okay, let's copy this card, and I'll go back to the cursor. So notice we go to the index. The index is where we loop the products. So I'll just paste it here. So this is our new user interface. So we need to display the product name. So let us copy this product name and put it here. Let's just make it follow the rules like so. And here we need the product description. So we'll copy this and override this with the product description like so. Okay, and instead of saying buy now, we'll say edit. And in here, it's no longer a button, it's an A tag, because we want to link, and the URL will be like this. So we are just actually changing from the list item we had. We no longer need the unordered list and its closing tag like so. We just need to display this card like so. Let's see the user interface. I'm pretty sure we need to do something, but let's just go there and see what we have. So here we have a list, okay? But if I right click and reload, yeah, we have something else. I think we need a background on that button. Yeah, because we need maybe a white background on the button. Let's go to the Daisy UI and see how we can customize the card. So we have card body, card action, card border, add this border to card. Let's say card border, card border, card body. If we do card border, do we add the border to the card? If we do card border, let's see. Yeah, it's adding some borders. Now I would like this to be inside maybe a flexbox or a grid. Let's put it inside a flexbox, or maybe a grid. Let's put it inside a grid. So I will create a div and I'll make it a grid of grid calls 2. I just want to have 2 columns. Yeah, I just want to have 2 columns, regardless of the... now, the 2 columns, because this guy has got a W of 96, let's make it a W full, okay? So the 2 items fills the entire screen, the entire space that they have, okay? So with grid, you can see here we don't have any gap in between. I don't think if this is visible. Let's see if we can change the the layout first. Sorry, the theme. How about business? There is a theme called business. It's cool, but it's still dark. How about node? It's light and it's visible. I think we can stick with this one. That way we can learn. Maybe abyss. Nah, it's not good. Maybe cupcake. Nah, I don't like cupcake. Okay, so let us stick with node. Yeah, let us stick with node. Node is it's kind of cool. Okay, so with index, in the index here, we can put a gap. Let's say gap 6, and then we have a space in here. We have a space in here. Okay. Yeah, so let us put some margin on the top here. You can just put MT, maybe also 6, like so. So the create product is it's too much. Let's forget the text, the color, and let's just have this link. Or maybe we can go to the Tailwind, to the base UI and see if we have some styling for links. Link. So we have a normal link, a secondary color, accent color. Yeah, we can just leave it the way it is. Okay. Yeah. So I think this one is cool for now. You can use it for now. Okay, guys. So right now, we have a website where there is no ownership. There's no ownership on this website. Anyone can open the website and create a product. Anyone, okay? Which is okay for learning, but it's not okay for a good product, a good project. It's not okay. So let us create a way that for someone to create a product, they have to be logged in. And we need to associate the products to the creator so that once you log in, you can only see the products that you create, okay? And if you're not logged in, then we will redirect you to a login page. That way you can actually create the product. Okay, so we'll start now with what we call authentication. I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then we will proceed because you guys have had a lot to take in. I want to give you a 5-minute break because this is live. So I'll give you a 5-minute break and then we will proceed. So let me just start that clock. Let's say Siri, where are you? Okay, 5-minute break, 5-minute timer. Okay. So in 5 minutes, then we will resume. Okay. We are here. Okay, guys, we're here and we would like to proceed now. We're here and we would like to proceed. So we want to learn about authentication. Authentication. So let's see how we can register a user. Let's see how we can register a user and log that user in. Okay. So we want, when we hit /register like this, we want to display a registration form. And with that registration form, we can capture the username, maybe the email and the password of that particular user, and register that user and also log that user in. So if I hit register right now, not found. Why? We have not registered a route called register. So let's do that. Okay, let's do that. So we're going to do web.php, and in here we will register a route called get, and it will be register like so, and then we can say maybe register controller, register controller, register controller, yes, class, and then specifically we can, because we want to register a user, we can call this store, right? We can call this store. But ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a register controller. So let us comment this and create a register controller. Because right now, if we go to the app, HTTP controllers, we only have two files, product controller. We don't have register controller. So I will hit Control J and go back to terminal. And then in here, let me just clear. I will do PHP artisan make. And when you say make controller, it will ask you the name of the controller you want to make. In our case, register controller, right? Register controller. If I hit enter, it will ask me, do you want an empty controller? You want a resource controller, a singleton API invocable? Forget all of those. Let's just deal with an empty controller, okay? Choose an empty controller. And in here, we can create a function with a method called store, okay? Store, like so. Just a very simple function with a method called store. So in here, we can perform some validation. Then if we pass the validation, we can register the user. Actually, we can store the user in DB, in the database. And then after that, we can just log in the user. And then after that, we can redirect to my products page, or products page. Let's say products page. So this is actually our to-do list. We first start by validating the request, then we store the user, then we log the user in, then we redirect back to products. Okay, yeah. So let us accept the request. Okay, let's accept the request, and let's give the request the name, the default name, which is request. So in here we have accepted. We are resolving the request object, the current request object. The current request object has information about the request, the current request, meaning does the user who is executing this request logged in or not? You see, what are the parameters that are associated with this request, the request query parameters? If it is a post request, what is the object, what are the headers, do we have any cookies in this current request. This object has all of that information. So we resolve it from the Laravel's container. Then we can now do the validation. In here, we can just say request, we can chain validate, okay? So we will come to this part here. But now, forgive me guys, I am starting to work on stalling the user while I don't even have a form to view the registration page. So I think it is wise to work with the viewing part. So register controller, we can have a function called show. A function called show, this is a custom function. We can use this to show the registration form. So let us hit a pause here first. I hope you understood this, but let us pause first. And in the function show, here now we will need to return. What are we returning? We return a form, a view to show the form. We return a view which will show the form. So it is a best practice to have something called auth dot maybe register. Yes, register. So auth will be a folder in the view folder, the views folder, which holds authentication related views. Okay, so if I go back to the resources page, views, let us create a folder called auth, and inside this folder let us create a register.bled.php. okay, like so, register.bled.php. So for now, let's just put a h1 here, and let's say register page. Okay, register page. So let's go back to the web.php, and now when we get register, we need a register controller. So I can just import it like so. Import it, and now we use the show method because we want to show the register form. Okay, if I hit show, this will return a view to register the form. Okay, so if I hit back and reload, we will see register page. So right now we want to show the form that will display the page that will display the registration form. Okay, so in here now, if we go to auth register, let us forget this and let us use our layout by doing X layout. And if we have X layout, we will see something. The page has changed. Nice. Okay, so let us go to Daisy UI, like so, and let's go back to components, specifically the field sets. Let's look for the login form, this one. Let's copy it. Let's copy everything, and then we will adapt it, because here we have email, password. We just need a name. Okay, so I'll just paste it here, and instead of it saying login, we'll say register. And email, we need that. Password, we need that. Instead of saying login, we'll say register. In addition to email, we'll put a name input like this. So the type is called text. The placeholder is called John Doe. Okay, yeah, so this is a name. But remember, an HTML form must have the name attribute. So we can put name equals name for the first one, and the input type email equals the name of the input is email, and here the name of the input is password. Okay, But now we need to put this field set in a form. So I'm going to cut it and create a form and put the field set there. The form will be processed. Where will it be processed? We can process the form in the same register URI, but the method now can change to post. If you attended the previous live, you will know that a form, a Laravel form, has to be protected from cross-site resource forgery, CSRF. And you do that by adding a CSRF token like this. A CSRF token like this. Now, do we have a route which listens to post requests and that route called register? No, we don't. So we need to have that. Right now, let's show the error. That way you can understand. Right now, if we reload, we'll have ourselves a beautiful register form, which is not centered. Let us center that. And it is very simple to center something with Tailwind. You just put an MX auto, like so. The form, let's just do something like this: class MX auto, like this. And now the form is actually like the container. If you put a BG here, BG red 50. If you put a BG red 50, you'll see the form is actually a block level element. So MX auto does not really affect the form. So let us copy that and put it on the field set. Oh, well, now we'll be having two classes on the field set. Let's just do an MX auto on the field set, because the field set is now an inline element. I hope this one, it's not actually an inline element, but it has this WXS. The width is extra small, so we can have that. We can have it centered using the MX auto, because it will apply a margin, automatic margin, on the x-axis, which is left and right. Okay, yeah. So let's just put some margins on the top. Margin 6, that should be fine. Now we have our nicely styled register form from what we call Daisy UI. So we need to register this the user from this form. Okay, so if someone comes here and types George Raphael and password admin at vastlabs.co.tz and maybe password, and when they hit register, we don't have the post method for the register route. Okay, so Laravel is telling us that. So we can go to web, duplicate the show, and call the duplicate post, and then we can execute another method to store. So if we go back to store, let's just make sure we reach here. A small test. Let's say hit. Okay. Let's just make sure we hit this route. Okay. So if I come back and hit a reload, confirm submission, it tells me hit. This means we are reaching at that point when we hit the register button, which is very good news to us. So let's say, what do we have on the request? Let us show all of them. Show everything we have on the request. I'm going to right click and reload and hit continue. And here we have the CSRF token, we have the name, we have the email, and we have the password as plain password. This means we are submitting the form. Okay, we're submitting the form to the store function. Okay, I hope you understand that. Now let us put some validation here. Maybe we just say the name. The name is required. Okay, just put the description. No, sorry, the email is also required, and it's also should be an email, a valid email, and it should also be unique in the users table. Okay, in the users table. And let's do a password. We can also say it's required. Or we can use the default Laravel's password rules, okay? We can use the default Laravel's password rules by having something called password from validation rules. Password, and we can say default, okay? We can grab the default rules which guides how a password should behave in a system. Yeah, we can use, as you can see here, we can use this syntax where we have pipes which separates the number of rules. We can also use an array syntax and put the rules as comma separated elements in an array. Okay, all of those are valid ways of using our rules. So validation, check. Now let us store the user in the database. In here, we can access the user model. So we did not create the user model, but it is given to us by default because Laravel is an application. An application will have users, and probably at some point those users will be needed to be authenticated, you know? So Laravel comes with a user model baked into the application, right? Not only the user model, but also if you go to database migrations, you will also see we have a users migration, okay? Now a users migration will create a users table for us, and you can see it has ID, name, email, a nullable field for our email verified, and a password, right? So we also have name, email, and password. So we can use the existing users table given to us by Laravel to store the user. So we can just say user, create, and then we can supply the contents of the user by saying name equals request name, and we can say email equals request email, and we can say password. If you were thinking something like this, now this is not good because in here you are storing the plain password in the database. Let me show you the effects of that. Let me show you the effect of that. Let us leave it like this, and then we will come to do the recommended approach, where we don't store password as plain text password, okay? Now, let's store the user in a variable. After creating that user, let's store the user in a variable called user. And we can log in the user in Laravel very easy by saying auth, the auth facade, and we can say login, and we can supply the user object to login, okay? And then after that, we can redirect back to products by return a redirect to home, because at home we are basically viewing all the products. Okay, yeah. So basically we are through, but we'll have to come back to switch this. Okay, I just want to show you something. Okay, so I'm going to right click and reload and continue. Yeah, so we have successfully registered a user, logged that user in, and redirected back. So if we go back to our cursor and view the database, in here, let's reload, let's refresh the entire database. If we go to the users table, you will see we have a user called George Rafael, but unfortunately, unfortunately, the password we see here is not exactly the password we put in here. Why? Because Laravel is smart enough to change the password from the plain text password to a hashed version of the password. Yeah? If we go back to the user table, maybe we can see something here. You see this function called casts. It casts the password to a hashed password. So it's taking care of the hashing. We don't have to hash it. So I think this is actually even new to me. Previously, in the previous versions of Laravel, we were doing it manually. This is what we could do. We could come here and say hash make, and then we could put the value in order to make a hash of this value and store that hash in the database. But for right now, we can just supply the plain password and Laravel will take care of that. Big up to the Laravel team. Okay, so now we have the user logged in, but we don't have any indication. How about we don't show, actually, so in our home, sorry about that. Let's go to there. Yeah, in our home here, we have this My Products. And we have the functionality to create a product. So I think it would be nice if in our home, we just have a navigation menu, which has maybe a home where we can see what this e-commerce is all about. And then maybe later on we can populate more stuff on the e-commerce. And then after that, we could have now a login and register page, buttons. And then this index page, that the one that we are seeing right now, we can have that on our /products page. You see, that way when we view the website, we don't see this as the initial screen. Okay, yeah. So let's go back to. Let me collapse everything. If we go to the routes, views, products, here we have index. Let's now add something here at home. Let's call it home. Home.blade.php. Okay. Now this should be the one that the users see when they log in. When they log in, they see that. So let's see X layout. And this should be the one that the users see. Okay. I think it's a good idea to have the menu inside the layout so that we can reuse the menu. Okay. But in here, let's just put something to the home page. Let's just put something. Let me see, what can we put? Do we have something like maybe a hero? Yeah, let's go for heroes. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, let's copy this and you can just use this one and put it here. Let's put a hero section, and in our web, when we navigate to the home route, let's not use the product controller. Let's use another controller. I like to have a page controller, or maybe a home controller. Since that is a home page, let's have home controller. And let's just have one method called show inside a home controller. Okay, and let's create the home controller now. We can create it manually, but since we have our code, we can just do phps and make controller home controller like so, and we can just put it as empty, and then let us uncomment it, import import the controller. Did I type it right? Command B. Home controller. Okay. home controller. Let me just duplicate this and make it home controller. Okay, is there, maybe because we don't have a show method inside home controller, let's put it here, function home show, like so. Okay, yeah, now it's resolving. Nice. Okay, so when we visit the home page, let's return a view to home. Okay, let's turn a view to home, like so. Now let's go back and refresh this page because it is no longer my product, it's home. Yeah, so we have hello there. This is exactly what we copied from Daisy UI. So let us just make some changes. Instead of hello there, we can just say welcome. And in here, we can just say, let's say, welcome to Vast Labs e-commerce website, where you can sell your products for free, something like this, and then get started. Yeah, welcome. You see something like this? Okay, so let us now add so let's just link the get started to the registration page, since we have that. So instead of having a button, let us put an A tag, and we can put a link to the register page. Okay, something like this. So when someone hits get started, they go back to the register page. Now it will be a good idea to have a menu at the top where the user can go back to the home page, go to the login page once we create the login page, right? And then we can end our live there. Okay. Okay. So now when the user visits the website, right? The website, they see, what do they see? They see the home page. Sorry, go back. They see the home page, which says welcome. And then they can hit get started. And when they hit get started, they see the registration page. Yeah. So I think this is a nice place to stop for now. I think this is a nice place to stop for now, for today actually. And maybe we can pick up from here in our next live, because this is already 2 hours now. I would just like to welcome, if someone has any question so far, shoot the question on the chat. That way I can know what are your concerns. But I think we have gone so far for this one, and in the next live we'll now work on having a navigation bar. When with that navigation bar we can actually navigate from one page to another, and then we can now implement the authentication features, because right now we have a user that is registered, but unfortunately that user cannot log in manually when they want to log in. Yeah, so we'll fix the navigation bar, but also we will add the login form, as well as hiding and showing the login and register buttons, showing them when the user is not logged in and hiding them when the user is logged in. Okay, yeah, super. Do we have any question on YouTube? Dracula, cards will be better. We are back. Nice. Tony, fantastic. Thank you for being there. So we have some people on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube live. Nice. That's good. Laravel is not hard, Tony. Laravel is not hard. Super. How about Facebook? Do we have people on Facebook? Any chats? No chats on Facebook, which is okay. Okay, so I will end the live on Facebook. Okay, so we are still live on YouTube. I will end the stream on YouTube. So see you guys next week, Wednesday. We will continue where we stopped. Make sure you put that on your calendar. Make sure you're there because yeah, that is when the good stuffs happen. Okay, yeah, that's